Harvard banned from enrolling international students? That's not a rumor, it's a shocking reality. In an unprecedented move, the U.S. government just shut the doors of one of the world's most prestigious universities to students from outside the country. But why? What really happened behind the scenes? Here's the full story you won't hear on the news. On May 22, 2025, the United States government issued a decision that took many by surprise. In a move that sparked nationwide debate, the Department of Homeland Security officially barred Harvard University from admitting any new international students for the academic year beginning in fall 2025. The announcement came through a formal letter addressed to Harvard's interim president, Alan Garber, signed by Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. The letter stated that Harvard's authorization to enroll non-U.S. students under the Student and Exchange Visitor Program (SEVP) was being immediately revoked. This decision halted the issuance of new F-1 visas for incoming international students, effectively closing Harvard's doors to foreign applicants. The U.S. government alleged that Harvard had violated federal regulations related to national security and campus safety. According to officials, the university had failed to take sufficient steps to protect students, especially Jewish students, from on-campus harassment and anti-Semitic incidents linked to recent pro-Palestinian and anti-Israel demonstrations. Moreover, federal authorities raised concerns over alleged ties between Harvard-affiliated research institutions and organizations connected to the Chinese government. These allegations included unauthorized technology transfers and collaboration on sensitive scientific projects, triggering a broader federal investigation. The implications of this decision are massive. As of the 2024-2025 academic year, international students made up around 27% of Harvard's total enrollment, approximately 7,000 students. Many of them are now left in a state of uncertainty, forced to either transfer to another SEVP-certified institution or face possible deportation. For prospective students who had secured admission and visas, the future is now unclear. This decision followed months of rising tensions between the federal government and elite academic institutions. As early as April 2025, funding for multiple federally supported research projects at Harvard had been suspended or reduced. The government also issued subpoenas demanding access to data related to student activism, foreign funding sources, and research collaborations. Federal officials claimed that Harvard repeatedly failed to comply with these requests, prompting what they called a last resort action. However, Harvard officials strongly denied these accusations, calling the ban a politically motivated assault on academic freedom and institutional independence. In a public statement, Harvard's leadership condemned the government's actions as unlawful and vowed to challenge the decision through legal channels. This unprecedented move undermines the United States' position as a global leader in higher education, the university said. It sends a chilling message to scholars and students from around the world who view America as a place of opportunity and intellectual freedom. The impact has been immediate and emotional. Many international students currently enrolled at Harvard expressed fear, confusion, and concern for their academic and professional future. Legal experts pointed out that while the government has the authority to regulate visa programs, revoking SEVP certification from a single institution of Harvard's stature without prior legal proceedings is virtually unheard of. The media has responded with in-depth coverage, analyzing both the national security narrative presented by the government and the implications for international education in the U.S. Critics argue that this move could damage America's reputation as the top destination for global talent. This sudden and dramatic action has not only disrupted the lives of students but also raised broader questions about the balance between national security and educational openness, and whether elite institutions like Harvard are being unfairly targeted for political purposes. Harvard University is one of the most prestigious and well-known institutions in the world drawing students from across the globe. As of 2025, nearly one-third of its student body, approximately 6,800 individuals, came from more than 100 countries. These international students play a vital role in shaping Harvard's academic community, contributing diverse perspectives and talents. But the U.S. government's recent decision to revoke Harvard's ability to admit new international students has thrown thousands of lives into chaos. This policy not only prevents future students from enrolling, it also jeopardizes the legal status of current international students. Many of them are now being told to either transfer to another SEVP-certified school or face the risk of losing their student visas. Students who had spent years preparing to attend Harvard must now watch their plans crumble in real time. This drastic measure didn't come out of nowhere. It followed months of escalating tensions between federal authorities and Harvard leadership. Starting in April 2025, the government began slashing funding to the university, cutting off an estimated $2.7 billion in research grants and federal support. These cuts had a profound impact on Harvard's ongoing projects in areas like medicine, engineering, and climate science. At the same time, government agencies began demanding extensive data from the university. They requested detailed documentation of protests on campus, particularly those involving international students. There were also demands for records on foreign student activities, funding sources, and even surveillance material such as videos or audio recordings from events. Officials claimed Harvard was uncooperative, stating that the university failed to fully comply with federal reporting requirements. These regulations are meant to ensure that U.S. institutions hosting foreign students operate within national security protocols. According to the Department of Homeland Security, Harvard's unwillingness to provide complete records was a direct violation of the law. Harvard strongly disputed these claims. University representatives argued that the government's requests were overly broad and intrusive, essentially demanding access to information that was either private, irrelevant, or protected by academic freedom. Harvard accused the federal administration of abusing its power to silence institutions that refused to bend to political pressure. The government, however, stood firm in its position. Officials stated that Harvard had knowingly allowed individuals on campus who allegedly promoted anti-American rhetoric and in some cases expressed support for extremist ideologies. Additionally, serious concerns were raised about Harvard-affiliated centers allegedly collaborating with Chinese government-linked groups, particularly in high-tech research sectors. On May 22, 2025, the situation reached its breaking point. A letter from Homeland Security was delivered to Harvard officially revoking its SEVP certification. The ban on accepting new international students took effect immediately. For Harvard, the fallout was swift. The university declared the government's actions unconstitutional and politically motivated and vowed to take legal action. In public statements, Harvard emphasized its commitment to protecting academic integrity and the rights of its international community. They warned that this ban would not only harm students but also weaken the United States' global standing in education and innovation. Across campus, the atmosphere shifted from confusion to anxiety. Students and faculty alike struggled to grasp the full impact of the decision. Immigration lawyers quickly noted that legal pathways to overturn such a move would be complex and unprecedented. In fact, this marked one of the first times in U.S. history that a top-tier institution was targeted in such a direct and public manner. Meanwhile, the media continued to uncover more layers of the conflict. Investigative reports linked the timing of the ban to broader political efforts to scrutinize universities' ties with foreign governments. Around the same period in late April 2025, the Justice Department had also intervened in a separate matter related to immigration records for students across multiple universities. Though technically unrelated to the Harvard case, it showed that federal agencies were conducting broad reviews of student visa programs. In early May, the government gave Harvard just **72 hours to hand over additional materials, including specific footage of campus protests and records about foreign student involvement. Harvard responded by submitting selected information but maintained that the overall request was excessive and potentially unlawful. Ultimately, the government declared that Harvard's response was insufficient. The ban was issued without delay. Harvard University is one of the most respected schools in the United States, with a large number of international students, almost one-third of its student body, which is about 6,800 students from over 100 different countries. Recently, the U.S. government decided that Harvard could no longer accept new international students. This decision caused uncertainty for thousands of students, including those who were already studying at Harvard and those who were planning to start their studies in the upcoming year. The government's decision was not made suddenly. For months, there had been increasing tension between Harvard and federal officials. The government had already cut about $2.7 billion in research funding and demanded detailed reports from Harvard about student protests and the activities of international students. Harvard responded by saying the demands were too broad and unfair. On the other hand, the government claimed that Harvard was not following federal rules and did not fully cooperate in sharing the information they had requested. Harvard strongly disagreed with the ban. The university said that the government's actions were like a punishment without proper legal reason and a threat to the freedom of teaching and research. Harvard denied all the accusations and said it would fight back in court to protect its students. The government accused Harvard of serious issues. Officials claimed that the university allowed individuals who were against America and who supported terrorism to be on campus. They also said that Jewish students had faced harm at Harvard and that the university had connections with the Chinese Communist Party. These were major concerns, and the government believed they showed a pattern of negative and unsafe influence on campus. Members of the U.S. Congress also got involved. Some special committees began looking into Harvard's relationships with countries like China and Iran. They were worried that some of the university's research projects might be risky for national security. Secretary Kristi Noem, a high-ranking official, said Harvard lost its right to enroll new international students because it did not follow federal laws. The government gave Harvard 72 hours to provide all the records they had asked for. They said that if Harvard fully cooperated within this time, the ban could be removed. On the same day as the ban, a judge in a different court case made a decision that temporarily stopped the government from canceling the legal status of many international students across the country. While this helped students in general, it did not cancel the ban placed only on Harvard. The government made it clear that this ban was not only about Harvard. Officials wanted other universities to understand that following federal laws and cooperating with government investigations was important. They said having a student visa is a privilege, not a guaranteed right, and this privilege can be taken away if the rules are not followed. This decision was not just about national security, according to some people. Many believed it was part of a larger political plan. Harvard had a history of disagreement with the government, especially during President Donald Trump's administration. Harvard leaders often opposed the government's ideas and sometimes even took legal action. These past conflicts made the situation even more tense. In the end, the situation became a turning point for Harvard and for how the government deals with universities. Both sides had very different views. The government said the ban was necessary for safety and rule enforcement, while Harvard said it was unfair and harmful to education and international cooperation. This system, called the Student and Exchange Visitor Program (SEVP), helps manage and monitor international students and the schools they attend in the United States. Schools like Harvard must follow the rules of this system if they want to accept students from other countries. When the government acted against Harvard, they used SEVP as the main tool. Officials said Harvard was not fully cooperating with SEVP rules, especially in reporting about students and protests. In the past, SEVP was used to check student records and make sure schools were doing things correctly. But in this case, it was used in a much stronger way to completely stop a major university from enrolling new international students. This was something new and unexpected. Before this, even if a school broke rules, they might get a warning or have to make changes but not face a full ban like Harvard did. This action made many other universities worry. They feared the same thing could happen to them if they disagreed with the government or did not respond quickly to requests. It sent a message that even the most powerful schools could be punished. Harvard responded with strength. The university said the government was acting too quickly and unfairly. They said no clear law was broken and that the punishment was too extreme. Harvard also said that education should not be used in political fights. They promised to go to court and challenge the decision, saying it hurt not just Harvard but also the students' science and international cooperation. Some government supporters said this action was good. They believed Harvard had become too political and not loyal enough to American values. They also felt that the university system needed more control and that big schools should not think they are above the law. These people believed that by using visa rules, the government could bring balance and remind schools of their responsibilities. Meanwhile, international students felt the most stress. Many of them had left their countries, spent a lot of money, and worked hard to study at Harvard. The ban made their futures uncertain. Would they be allowed to stay? Would they be sent home? Would their education stop suddenly? These questions made their lives full of fear and confusion. Supporters of international education said that the U.S. was hurting its own image. For decades, American universities had been places where people from around the world came to learn, do research, and build bridges between nations. They said this new approach could push students to choose schools in Canada, the UK, or Australia instead. The conflict between Harvard and the government was not just about one university. It was part of a bigger story about how America sees itself, its laws, and its place in the world. It showed how education, immigration, and politics could all come together in powerful and surprising ways. The situation also raised a key question: should the right to education be tied to politics, or should it remain open and protected even when there is disagreement? While the final decision remained in the hands of courts and policy makers, the effect was already deep. A clear message had been sent, and everyone from students to school leaders, from lawmakers to people around the world, was watching closely to see what would happen next. The U.S. government uses a system called SEVP to track international students and the schools they attend. Universities must be approved by SEVP in order to accept students from other countries. If a school breaks the rules, the government can cancel its SEVP approval. This normally happens with smaller schools that make serious mistakes in paperwork. Taking away a large university's approval like Harvard's is something completely different. In the past, the government didn't use the SEVP system in this way, especially not for reasons connected to politics or ideas. If there were problems with universities, they usually came through changes in research funding or similar methods. Stopping Harvard from accepting new international students is a major and unusual move. This has never happened before in U.S. history for such reasons. It represents a shift in how the government deals with universities and foreign students. The impact is serious. For international students already studying at Harvard, this decision is deeply troubling. According to the new rule, they must leave the country or quickly find another university that can accept them. This has caused stress and uncertainty for thousands of students. Many of them made big sacrifices to come study in America, and now their futures are unclear. They have to search for new schools, relocate, and change their plans completely. It's a difficult and emotional time for them. Harvard also faces major problems. A large part of its income comes from international students who pay full tuition. If the university can't accept these students, it could lose millions of dollars. This will hurt its financial stability. Additionally, many of Harvard's top research projects rely on international talent, people working in science, medicine, and technology. If those students and researchers are forced to leave, many research labs may shut down. Important studies might be delayed or canceled. This could damage America's ability to stay ahead in new discoveries and inventions. Experts warn that losing such talent could be a serious setback for progress in key fields. Even before this ban, the Trump administration had already reduced research funding for Harvard by billions of dollars. The university was already facing financial pressure, and this new decision makes the situation worse. The ban also changes how the world sees America. For decades, the U.S. has been a top destination for students from all over the globe. Its universities are known for high-quality education and great opportunities. Now that image may change. If students believe they are not welcome or safe in the U.S., they may choose other countries like Canada, the UK, Germany, or Australia. These nations could benefit from America's loss by attracting the best and brightest minds. Countries like Australia are watching the situation carefully. China has taken the ban as a signal that the U.S. is no longer friendly to Chinese students. This could harm relations between nations and discourage future academic partnerships. Many people expect this issue to be decided in court. Harvard has already filed a lawsuit challenging the government's decision. Legal experts believe the court will consider important questions. Did the government follow proper legal procedures? Does it have the power to stop a university from accepting students in this way, especially if the reasons are related to politics or speech on campus? The final court decisions will matter a lot. They could set new rules about how much control the government has over universities and students. This situation also raises serious questions about academic freedom, the right of universities to teach and research without political interference. Across the country, people are debating how to balance national security with the independence of schools. There is also concern about how the ban might affect America's future as a leader in innovation and education. This ban has sparked a national conversation. People are expressing many different opinions, and there are no easy answers. The full effects of this event will be seen over time. It is likely to bring lasting changes to U.S. universities, international education, and America's global reputation. The decision may shape the future of higher education and international cooperation for years to come. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel. Your support really helps in making more useful English videos. Thanks for watching and take care.